You start
There we
that, I
go.
can open on the meeting. You all set?
Yep, we're good.
Alrighty. Um, all right, good evening. It's April 13th, 2026. Time is 6 p.m. and opening the Town of Deerfield Conservation Commission meeting for this evening. This meeting will be held remotely with adequate alternative means of public access in accordance with House Bill number 58 of the 193rd General Court, which extended the governor's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, MGL Chapter 30A, Section 20, until March 31st of 2025. Oh, is this an old statement on the meeting packet, Amy? We're beyond 2025 here. Are you there, Amy?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm afraid I must have taken an old agenda. I will fix that next meeting. But yes, the governor's order has been extended, so we are good to meet remotely.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so too. Um, we can move ahead in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. Anyone intending to record the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide their name and address for the record. This was posted on the Town of Deerfield website. There's a few people attending here, so I think everything works there. So the meeting is called to order. The meeting guidelines is to please speak one at a time. Follow the Deerfield Code of Conduct, which is to be respectful, considerate, courteous, concise, and non-repetitive. And for this meeting, I would ask also that unless you're doing a presentation, please keep any comments to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes or less. And any questions or comments that you have about the hearing tonight, please direct them to myself, the chair, and I will redirect as needed to the other commissioners. Um, Other than that, I think we're good to go. So I want to quickly identify the members of the Conservation Commission here this evening. I am here. I'm Pete Law. Who else is on with the commission?
Ben Byrne, present.
Kate
Humberby,
Devlin here.
Sean Libby, present.
All right. So we have four commissioners here. So we have the quorum, and
We also have
also,
Josh.
yeah, I'm just going to say the next order is going to introduce you to the upcoming member of the commission. His name is Josh Reynolds. He's on the call tonight, and Josh hasn't sworn in yet with the town, so he won't be, he'll just have to listen in tonight. But Josh, do you want to introduce yourself and say hi to the other commissioners? Give us a little background.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Hello, everybody. My name's Josh Reynolds, and yeah, I have yet to be sworn in, but I'm very excited to become a member of the commission. And I work for the Trustees of Reservations based out of Florence, and I've been doing trails.
Invaded by Sputnik is back or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, I work in trails maintenance and construction, and assorted other conservation tasks in the nonprofit sector, and been doing trails and conservation work for about 10 years now. And yeah, I'm excited to learn and become, an integral member of the commission.
I appreciate it. And Josh has a great background for the commission, so welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your service here.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Anything else there? Otherwise, the next agenda item is for the minutes. The minutes from March 26th, 2026 were included in the packet. Um, any questions or revisions or Comments from the commissioners on that? As submitted, I have none. As such, and I would be open to taking a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of 3/26/2026 as they were submitted.
John Libby, make a motion to accept the minutes of 3/26/26 as submitted.
Ben Byrne, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the commissioners? Hear none, see none. So take a quick roll call vote to accept the motion to approve the minutes from March 26th. Sean Libby,
Libby, aye.
Ben Byrne,
Ben Byrne, aye.
Kate Devlin,
Kate Devlin, aye.
Pete Law, aye. So that that motion passes, and meetings from those meetings will be put into the record. Thank you very much. We only have one item this evening that we have to discuss. It's new business. It's at Zero Cross Street, RDA. It was submitted. We'll be holding a meeting tonight. It's a request for the determination of applicability filed by Jeremy Ober to see if work depicted on submitted plans for Zero Cross Street property identifying the assessor's records as map 169 lot 79 is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. So as such, we'll open the hearing on this RDA and would ask the applicant, Mr. Ober, to give us a quick background of what we're looking at here this evening.
How you doing? I'm not sure if you can hear me. It sounds like the microphone is.
Jeremy, I think you're on here twice.
Is that what it is?
So yeah, that's what's giving us the echo. It's better now. Yeah.
All right. Let me know if you can't hear me.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if you're Jeremy Ober. Okay, now I'm only seeing ones.
Let me see.
You need to turn off something, maybe a microphone or a speaker. You are echoing.
Can I click out of this and then come back in?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. Hang on one second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay, yeah.
perfect.
Sorry about that. I did have two open. I wasn't sure.
Okay. Yep, now you're good.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I want to build a 1,400 square foot single family ranch on Cross Street. I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah, you still there? So I understood that you're looking at potentially building a 1,400 square foot ranch on that lot there on Cross Street.
Correct. Yes.
Any additional details? Have you done any review of the property, any wetland delineations or anything of that nature?
No, because it didn't show up on the wetland maps. It was just a dry swale, I guess, or a perennial swale, or whatever you guys call it. So I don't think there's any delineated wetlands in the vicinity of where I propose to put the ranch.
Okay.
Designated
anything-
wetlands, I should say. There doesn't appear to be any in the location of the actual house.
Okay. Anything further, Jeremy?
No, it's pretty cut and dry. It's a level, flat cornfield. Planned on putting up a nice silt fence barrier to protect that dry swale, and pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's wide open. There's nothing there, you know.
Okay. Thank you. We did complete a site visit on April 9th. It was myself and Tim Coles, who's the conservation agent for the town of Deerfield. And we can give you a little bit of input here in just a second. If you look at the Mass DEP wetlands map, there is a hydrologic connection that, you know, if I'm at Cross Street and I'm looking to the east, there's 3 or 4 houses there. There's a hydrologic connection that comes off the hill in the back of those houses, takes a western turn, goes under a culvert on Cross Street, and then enters into that swale, which becomes the Sugarloaf Brook, going down, that meets up on goes under Sugarloaf Street and out through there. And the commission knows we've done a lot of work in that area, reviewing that area, but there is a hydrologic connection on the DEP map, which doesn't mean it's a wetland or not. It just means that there's at times flow that proceeds through that. And as we know, there's flow at different times of the year, depending on conditions of drought and time of year and so forth, that goes through that. And hopefully it's contained with a culvert coming on this Cross Street. And there's things that we have to do there. But as we looked at Sugarloaf Brook as part of another, that was actually a notice of intent, but another notice of intent brought to us by the town of Deerfield, which commissioners might remember. There was a wetlands delineation completed there, and we accepted that wetland delineation, and it comes up to, oh, Tim, you're there with me. It comes up to just about the end of that parcel that we're talking about now on the west side, but it didn't proceed from both vegetation and soil indicators beyond that. So Tim, please jump in a minute. My assessment would be, though, at observing it, the end of the parcel that we're discussing tonight on the west side is it's definitely within the bordering wetland vegetation, the BBW area, the 100-foot from the end of the wetlands that was delineated last year. So it is within our jurisdiction, in my belief. Now, there's no delineation completed for this project, so that's the decision tonight, to decide whether it's within the area but not altering the wetland area, or if we would want to go to an NOI and require a wetland delineation. But we've had that in that area quite extensively. So just reminding the other commissioners of that. So Tim, any other info you could provide from the site visit?
Yeah, I guess the hydrologic connection on the DEP maps is enough to consider it jurisdictional, because it's a hydrologic connection to something that's jurisdictional. So a delineation wouldn't need to necessarily be required, and that obviously would be an additional expense on the applicant, depending on if it's just accepted that it's jurisdictional, and we could just move forward with potentially conditions on the RDA. So that would be my thoughts.
Yeah, so I agree. It was in jurisdictional within that area, so it's within our purview, and we know there's wetlands below it, and So yeah, I agree, Tim. It's jurisdictional. So, other questions or comments from the commissioners on this? Hey, Sean, Ben, any? None of us have walked through that swale.
It would be new to me to realize that the hydraulic connection, meaning the depression in the ground, makes it jurisdictional. I would have thought that our jurisdiction ended at the 100-foot BVW that was accepted from the wetland delineation done last year, and all of the work being proposed here is on the eastern portion of the property, and the delineation I would have thought ended on the western portion of the property. But I haven't looked at the law the way Tim has, so if he's saying it's jurisdictional because of the hydraulic connection without the flow, and then
Yeah.
it's
Well, that just to clarify, Sean, that the line of the wetland delineation that we looked at last year,
right.
2 years ago,
It's the
whatever it
house
was.
that had the trees removed, right?
And yeah, it's
Right.
right there, and that would be if you took the corner of this property and ran I put it on the wetland map and ran the distance. It's within that 100 foot, so the bordering wetland vegetation would then make it the jurisdictional area from my
Right.
understanding.
From on the western portion of this property, not near the construction, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because even then, when we educated on that property, the last few trees on their boundary line, we determined were outside of our jurisdiction, and they could do
Yeah.
anything with those. So
Yeah.
I would think the jurisdiction actually ends, and I would have thought because we approved that delineation, that defines the scope of our jurisdiction in that whole area. I mean, if they had thought we were jurisdictional on this dry swale, why didn't they carry that up? Is my
Yeah.
question. If it was, I mean, we approved that. So how come that delineation didn't carry all the way up through here to the other wetland that?
yeah. So we approved that for the stream at the as the end of the delineation. The work on the stream when they get to it, there was no work involved that would occur on the brook until they were well south or well east or well west. I'm sorry, of that line of delineation. So if they wanted to do something above that, then it would have been within the bordering area. So it's a little, I agree with you. It's a little bit different on the two different projects of what was requested. So this is on the end, but, so it's close, but there's no, there's no new delineation done. It was Tim and I just kind of walking off and looking at the distances, and it's within that 100-foot range in that corner. And I believe the applicant just stated earlier that there will be applying erosion control devices there. So when we looked at it, it would probably be, I don't have the map on my computer. I can't show you, but I think you have the map in your meeting package there. If you went down the brook, if you start at Cross Street where the culvert is, and go westerly down the brook area to the end of the property of this applicant, I would look at doing an erosion control from kind of starting at that culvert, bringing it back across to the property that we're discussing tonight, come to the either the end, probably the end of the project, even though it's well outside the construction area, and wrapping it around. So we'd make a semicircle around it so it containment, just in case there's any soil piles or anything that were brought out when they do the foundation and things of that nature. So that would be kind of the wrap, if you will, of the I can think of the name, not the wattles, but the sheathing, and maybe the wattles in front if the commission thinks so as well. It is a very flat topography. It's a agriculturally developed area. So observation was it was, a cornfield not too long ago, but it's been an agricultural area for X amount of time there. So that's the observation. Anything more on that, Tim, from our visit out there?
Yeah, I just I'm happy to look up the exact text from 310 CMR 10 around the jurisdiction for that. But I think it would actually be less of a burden on the applicant if we just could decide jurisdictional or not jurisdictional. And if it is jurisdictional, then that doesn't affect any, you guys could still rule that it's not affecting the wetlands.
Right.
And a negative
So
determination.
we can always do a Form 2 -3 to say it's within the wetlands, but here are the conditions of erosion control type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, but I'm happy to look up, the actual text in 310 CMR 10 and share that.
Okay. Sean, Kate, Ben, do you want Timothy to take a few minutes now to define that, or would you be okay with doing conditions with erosion control?
He does not need to do that for my benefit. I was merely speaking my piece so that the applicant heard another viewpoint.
Yeah. Okay. Kate, Ben, we're good?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. I do have a hand up, and there's it looks like some public here. So if the commissioners are set, I will open it up to public comment at this time. And I see a hand up from Victor. That's the first time I screen, so I'm not in order here.
Yeah, am I unmuted now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Victor, can you just state your name for the commission?
Yep. It's Victor Warrius. I'm at 45 Eastern Avenue. I'm going to be looking right at this new house construction, but and obviously it's a big, big change here. There's a couple things. One is, I know this year has been extremely dry. Okay. Last year at this time, I had 2 sump pumps, and one of them I know was going every 15 minutes, and it varies. The water table is down. I know that on the ditch here, the south side of the ditch, there, when it's wet, there is one area where water comes out. It looks like there's like a pipe running underneath there, and I'm sure that the people on the eastern side of Cross Street are going to be definitely affected by if excavation occurs, and these pipes are, I don't know what's there. I have no idea. It was a farm field, and this whole area was farmed. There could be pipes underneath there. If those are cut off, I don't know how that's going to affect the people to the east, but that's a consideration. I do know that the one lot that I understand is they're trying to get approval for a building on Cross Street is definitely flooded, and that takes a while to when it's wet. It takes a while to drain. Whether that is pipe is from that, I don't know. Any case, that's one thing. The other thing is, I remember, I know we had some rainstorms the last year or so when he was doing construction up above. And I do know one time I went up there and there was a lot of water running off. There was erosion control that was not maintained, had been there and not maintained. I would definitely like to know what the procedure is for maintaining erosion control. This, I understand, is a flat area. The other area was definitely a mountain area. But boy, I'll tell you, that water came down in, and there is the drainage does go into the ditch area right at Cross Street where the outlet is for that culvert, and it was that was pretty well plugged up. There is a lot of sediment there. It isn't from him, but in any case, what is the erosion control for the maintenance? Now, I mean, you say erosion control, but I don't feel, I know he didn't do a good job on maintenance on that up there. I'd like to make sure he does this, and we'll be sitting here watching it too. So,
Okay.
Okay,
So, Mr. Warriors,
that's
let
about
me
3 minutes.
Yeah, Mr. Warriors, let me answer a few questions. Yes, this is a very dry year, and we tend to bounce up and down on that. So what we do as wetlands scientists, and for the brook, it was an official wetland scientist. We look at both vegetation and also soil cores. Because if it's not a standing water, the vegetation's not a definite wetland. We look at soil cores to determine if it was in a wetland over time. And by doing soil cores down to about 18 inches, 24 inches, we can look at what happened over time in that area. And there was a number of soil cores up in that area that were done when we reviewed the last study, and a lot of them, and they all came back as not indicative of a wetland area per definition of the Wetland Protection Act, and that's all we can. That's all we work under. So there are a lot of things that we look at, though, other than there's water in it or not water in it. We look at vegetation. We look at the soil. We look at different things. As far as the erosion control, we by the time this is finished, if it's approved, to go ahead, there will be details on the erosion control and on where it has to be placed and how it has to be placed. And the town of Deerfield has developed over the last few years a very stringent code of erosion control. And so that has to be inspected before any building can occur, before any work can occur on the site. It has to go through the approval process and inspection. And the Conservation Commission, as a part of the ongoing order of conditions, has the right to go onto any site at any time to review and inspect. And with the town, this past year is the first time the town has had a part-time hired conservation agent, which is Tim Coles, who is on the call tonight. And part of what he does is go out and do these inspections and make sure people are doing things per the conditions. So I think we're in a much better position than us volunteers trying to do it on our free time. So I appreciate all the comments. I hope I answered them okay. And if so, then I'd move on to another. I see another hand up. It's a Jen.
Hi there.
I don't know your last name, Jen, but if you can give us your full name.
Sure. My name is Jen Healy. I live at 5 Cross Street, and I own the lot directly next to the one in question, on the other side, not Vic's side. You're
putting a farm lot, a garden lot in there. I noticed all the nice soil there the other day.
Yes, yeah. The soil that I didn't have time to move before I went on vacation, unfortunately. And so I want to just say first, I really appreciate the information that was just given in response to Vic's questions. That answered a lot of my questions as well. But I just want to put out there that I will say I have significant concerns about the building on this lot, given that both, this lot is flat, yes, but they are wet lots. They do stay flooded or stay wet for a good amount of time, at least in my experience. And additionally, they're both set down from the road. And so I have concerns regarding, if to build this structure, the applicant is going to build up. I have concerns about water running off and further exacerbating flooding on my lot as well. And so, like I said, I appreciate the comments that were just given about the more stringent codes and the role that the town of Deerfield has taken. But I would just like it on the record that I would like all possible due diligence done on this lot in consideration of both the land and the neighbors, if possible, just because I think all of us have dealt with the flooding on Cross Street and Eastern and Graves, and just want to make sure that we do everything possible to mitigate that. So I appreciate the time, and thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it very much, Ms. Healy. Just a couple of other items. Yeah, the town has been looking at that area, Eastern Ave, Cross Street, coming down through the whole brook. We did, as a commission, approve an NOI for the Sugarloaf Brook to remove some impediments there because it does back up. And so the town was trying to get that done this winter before frost went, but the frost went too quick, I guess. Even though it was a long winter. So the latest schedule I have is probably late summer or fall when things dry and we can get in, because we're going to have to go across the people's properties and we don't want to disturb properties and such. And so that would, the intent of that is to take out a lot of, it was about 18 different small impediments within the brook to let the flow go better, to get it down through there. I believe also there's work up in that area right now for the sewer lines and the water lines, and I believe cutting across once I get to it on Cross Street. I believe, and don't hold me to it, you or I would have to check with the DPW, but I believe that culvert that's there right now, you can see on the road there's a little indentation and the culvert's probably not in the best shape. And if you look at it really close, from I believe the east side to the west side, there's a little bit of standing water on the west side, like there's a little dip in there that's scoured out, and that the culvert's inverted in a way. It's going the wrong direction down. So hopefully we get the same size culvert in there, but that would have an increase of flow to move that. One other thing that I want to go back to, what Mr. Warhurst said, something about pipes. I don't know about pipes coming across there. Do you know anything about that? Or maybe the applicant does, but that's, I put a couple of question marks there that I don't, I've been in looking at a lot of the culverts up in that area. I don't remember there was something there.
I don't have any easements on my deed for any pipes going under the road through my lot. There would be an easement if one of the neighbors or a utility went through there. There's no easements.
Okay. And that was Jeremy that said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we may have to take a look at that, but I don't know. Oh, okay. Mr. Warris, if you could be real quick, that'd be great.
Yeah, just as I say, there's one place where water was coming out on the north side of the ditch, and then talking to some of the older people around here, they said, well, they were all they emptied, or farmers would empty the field, sometimes running pipes underneath. I don't know. I have no idea if there's anything. The other thing is that culvert that you're talking about, they have right now, they just delivered today two, it looks like they're 24 or maybe 20 inch, but they said what they're going to do with that culvert is put plastic pipes underneath that culvert, which if they're going to do that, that's going to decrease the size of the culvert. I think it was a 24 inch, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure, well, it's 24, but they're going to do that. And the problem is, yeah, that's great when they get normal runoff. But if we end up with a deluge, like we've had in this last summer, water will back up there, and when it runs down Cross Street to the south and then down Eastern Avenue. It did that. I've seen it do that. Okay, and as I say, that other lot on the west side does flood, and when it floods, the water then starts coming down towards Eastern Avenue. You haven't really addressed the situations that occur when we have torrential rains. And I understand that's whatever you want to call it, 100 years, which are now 50 years, which maybe every other. Anyway.
We can only address what's in the state regulation right now, which is the Wetland Protection Act. I can't go beyond that. As far as the sizing of the culvert, the town, I believe, you can check with DPW, but they would have done within their notice initially, they would have to do all the water flow engineering on that. So the sizing should be what is required. Now we can't, and I agree, the 100-year floods seem to be coming every couple of years or whatever, but we can't do anything outside the regulations. So appreciate the comment, but all I can tell you is that it's a big old book. It's about that thick of all the regulations that we have to adhere to. We're trying here. Okay. Any other comments from the public? I see a few other people, but I don't see any hands up. No, I don't see and I don't hear anything. So just a couple items that came up there, and commissioners are now like, please jump in if I missed something or if I might have misspoke on something. Let me know. The one question that I would have then, or two questions that I would have, is these pipes that Mr. Warhas suggested might be there. The applicant said that there's no easement that he knows of, and that should have been on all their plans purchasing. I don't know if we want to take another look at that, Tim, at all. And the second one
can I intervene for 1 second?
Ms. Healy brought up, it was the flooding aspects, and maybe Jeremy, you could just address what the height differential may be when you're looking at your plans for the foundation. Any height there, and or do you have any plans for water control coming off of the building, the drainage, anything of that nature? So.
Yeah,
I combined it in two questions, but maybe Jeremy, you could address the latter.
As far as the pipes, I hope nobody's referring to somebody's sump pump opposite of Cross Street draining into the lot, because that would be illegal. That's my lot. So I hope their sump pumps aren't going under the road into my field. So maybe they're worried about that. I'm not sure, but that shouldn't be there anyways for their sump pumps. As far as the elevation of the foundation, that's got to be determined on site. Once we start digging, if there is a water table, everything will be accordingly from there. So we'll have to dig pretty much a test hole, and that'll determine the elevation. It might be it could end up being a crawl space, a 3-foot crawl space, depending on the water table there. So that all has to be determined during the excavation process of that.
And that height, Jeremy, you're probably more familiar being a builder than I am, would be also determined by the building codes and the building bylaw codes of the town?
No, the building department will let you do a full 8-foot foundation, a slab, or they'll let you do a crawl space. That's up to me to decide as the property owner. But usually what you do is once you start excavating, if you do see a water table, you decide at that moment if you want to do a crawl space or raise the house up. But I don't have any plans of raising the house up, because then you got to bring in fill. You know, it's just more costly to raise a house up. So I like to keep the house in ground. So I think most likely what will end up happening is it'll probably be like a 4-foot crawl space to keep the house flush with a lot in the land.
Well, that's interesting. So,
I don't think we can really force somebody to determine the height of their foundation when it's all unknowns right now.
yeah. I have a question in my mind whether it can be conditioned to make sure there's no increase in the water flow to either the swale or to the neighboring properties. Tim, that might be something we'd have to look into more. I know in the past, we've required various plantings of vegetations and swales to be put in on the boundary, so swale to alleviate on water flow in case it did happen. In the plantings of vegetation that would provide for uptake of the water uptake, which plantings are very, very successful at doing. I'm just looking at it and thinking out loud. Ben, Kate, Sean, thoughts?
Pete, we do have another hand up.
Well, sorry, I don't see it on mine. I don't see another hand, but
Yeah, I think Robert would like to speak. Are you?
Yeah, this is Robert Greenspan. I'm at
okay. Sorry, Robert, you didn't show up on my screen. I don't have a Robert.
I think I'm near the edge. Maybe you've got me over the edge.
Yeah.
Well,
What's the last name, Robert? I'm sorry.
Greenspan. I'm at 50.
Okay, thank you.
Right where Cross Street hits Eastern Avenue. And I guess there's two things. One, the builder mentioned that they were going to determine how deep the foundation is based on the water table. But as Vic mentioned, this has been a dry year. The water table will be a lot different than it was last year. So if he builds it according to this year, and next year we have, severe water, a lot of water incoming, we're concerned about how that's going to affect our neighborhood. We've had lots of water backing up and flooding our backyard, our front yard, the street. And the concern is that, the foundation of the new house will all that water that used to be soaked up from that is no longer, will now be displaced. And we are concerned. Water is a big concern around here. It was just awful for, a number of years where the whole area was flooded. And we're concerned, or I'm concerned, just that a deeper foundation will cause more of that kind of water problems in wet years. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Yes. Totally. Thank you. All right. I'm scrolling back and forth the participants. I don't see any more hands up. So we'll go back to the commissioners, Sean, Ben, Kate, any input? Or any thoughts?
I would be ready to proceed with a Form 2 -3 and a order of conditions set for erosion controls.
And Sean, the questions on the water and the increased water to different areas, potential.
It's a wet area, I have a wet house. I live in Deerfield too. So I don't I can empathize with everyone with a wet backyard. I don't see how that bears on our decision making in terms of we're being guided by Chapter 131, and the owner has the right. I would assume that he's outside of jurisdiction where we can say no. So I don't. I mean, I understand the concerns. I don't see what talking about them any further does. I don't think that this will dry out anyone's backyard, and I don't think that anyone in Cross or Eastern is going to see the last of water in their backyards.
And that's the point here is we have jurisdiction over only certain things. So the building, the foundation, the heights, we have no jurisdiction there. Kate, Ben?
I think Tim would like to speak. Tim has his hand up.
Sorry, I can't keep up with all the hands, I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim. I don't see you.
I just wanted to say that kind of the hook for requiring that water control be managed in the way that you're suggesting. Single family houses are exempt from stormwater management standards under 310 CMR 10.056 L1. So this situation would be exempt for requiring water management for any displaced water
Right.
under that standard.
Great. That helps very much, Tim. Thank you for being able to jump into the regs while we're talking about this.
Yep.
Because with a inch worth of regs, you can't memorize them all. Okay. Kate or Ben?
I'd say probably, I mean, as long as he's grading appropriately, that it's not going to change any of the watershed. I mean, I don't really see a whole lot of problem.
Yeah. Okay. Kate?
Yeah, I think we're sort of stuck with the law as written.
Right. Okay.
So we have to keep going back to that. That's what's, yeah.
And there's a hand up from Robert. I don't know if that was a hand from before. Okay. All right. I think we've gone through that enough. I think we know what we are able to do by the regulations and so forth. And I appreciate everybody's comments and so forth. But if the commission is satisfied, we could certainly take a motion on how we'd like to proceed.
Libby, I'll make a motion that we make a Form 2, -3 decision with the addition of the Deerfield Order of Conditions for concerning erosion control placement.
Ben Byrne, I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table for Form 2, -3 with proper erosion controls installed. And those erosion controls will be defined and inspected before any work is being allowed on the project. So the motion on the table has been seconded. Is there any other conversation, discussion from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we can go ahead and take a roll call vote from the commissioners on accepting the motion as submitted. Sean Libby,
Libby, aye.
Kate Devlin,
Kate Devlin, aye.
Ben Byrne,
Ben Byrne, aye.
Pete Law, aye. So that motion passes as a 4-0. It's a negative Form 2, -3 determination with proper erosion controls. So we'll close out the hearing and we'll provide the applicant with the specific information as required and move on to the next agenda items.
Technically, I think
Okay.
you're supposed to vote to close out the hearing, which we should do before we actually vote on the outcome, which I always forget to remind you guys. I don't know if you want to do that and be technical. We tend to not do that.
Oh, so what's the technicality that we need to do, Amy?
And basically, before you should close the hearing before you vote. You close the hearing after you take all the testimony, the input, and you've asked your questions. And so
Okay. I'm
we
sorry, I
missed
got
that, but
ahead.
if someone wants to make a motion to close the hearing, that would just make it more official.
Kate Devlin, I'll make a motion to close the hearing. Sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. For the
That's fine. That's all you
Okay.
have to do.
okay.
Sean Libby, I'll second.
Okay. Motion on the table to close the hearing. Take a quick roll call vote from the commissioners to do such. Sean Libby,
Libby, aye.
Kate Devlin,
Kate Devlin, aye.
Ben Byrne,
Ben Byrne, aye.
Pete Law, aye.
Thank you.
So does that work? That cover that for you, Amy?
Yeah, it does. And I'm sorry to be I just,
No.
it's just best to keep these things straight in case, there are challenges or things come up. It's just best to keep to the rules. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Thank you very much. It's all these Robert's Rules of Order that's sometimes hard to keep up with. So we have, I forget what the timing is, 14, 21 days, but there's an appeal period. And once we get through that, then we can move ahead with the orders here.
And that's actually just to be, it's not Robert's Rules, it's MGL that I believe closing the hearing is an MGL thing. That's why I'm making a deal out of it.
All right, good. No, you keep us straight. You know all that stuff. That's a good thing. Next two agenda item are old business and other business. I don't know of anything else from the commissioners. Next item is general discussion. Anything else you want to bring up?
We'd have Josh aboard.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Any additional public comment? See none, hear none. We had no new mail. There's no unanticipated items. So the upcoming meeting, the next meeting will be April 30th, 2026, starting at 6 p.m. And at that point, we can take a motion to adjourn.
Libby, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:54 p.m.
Kate Devlin, I'll second.
And motion on the table to adjourn. I'll take a quick roll call. Libby,
Libby, aye.
Kate Devlin,
Kate Devlin, aye.
Ben Byrne,
Ben Byrne, aye.
Pete Law, aye. So the meeting is adjourned, and I will close out the Concom meeting tonight at 6:54 p.m. on April 13th, 2026.